Okay, what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through how I'm going to map out the timeline so I can get in shape, and I'm going to show you so you can apply this to yourself as well. I'm going to walk you through step by step how I'm going to map out this timeline from start to finish, how I'm going to identify up and coming problems, how I'm going to overcome them, what phases I need to go through, and what position I need to be in at each phase. Okay, now this year I got in peak shape around May, June, and then I started pushing food up again. I started putting size on again. Next year, I want to get back to this position, but then I want to keep going and I want to work on my fitness. So the aim of me mapping out this timeline is to get back to that position, okay? Now, big problem is people overwhelm themselves with too much too quick. What you need to do is break it down into phases. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with my own timeline right now, which I'm going to walk you through. The first thing I need to do is pull body fat down. That's the first phase, right? So that's the first phase I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to overwhelm myself with too much yet. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to bring body fat down. That's going to be the main priority. And then I'll transition into the next phase, okay? Now, I've built a lot of muscle naturally, and I don't want it to go anywhere. It's going to be hard for it to go anywhere. So as I go through this fat loss phase, I want to do it nice and slow. I want to keep as much muscle as possible. And I want to make sure that I factor that into the timeline, okay? I don't want to rush this process. So that's the first thing we're going to focus on now. Now, up and coming problem, we've got December coming up. Christmas, festivities, New Year, Christmas meals, nights out, all that kind of stuff, that's coming up. So I'm going to factor this into the timeline, okay? So the main focus right now is just pulling body fat down, getting a little bit leaner, keeping as much muscle as possible. I'm not going to overwhelm myself with too much yet, okay? What I'm going to do now is transition over to the desktop. I'm going to do a loom video. I'm going to walk you through the timeline that I've mapped out so you can physically see where I'm up to, what phases I'm going to be going through, and where I expect to be. If you want to drop body fat, right, you have to be precise with what you're doing. You have to know exactly where you're going, if you're on track, if you're on schedule, and if you're not, what are you going to do to fix that problem? And what I'm going to walk you through now is how I track all of this with all of my clients, track it with myself, and it simplifies everything, okay? But remember the first thing, do not overwhelm yourself with too much too quick. If you want to drop body fat, keep it simple, okay? What I'm going to do now is transition over to the desktop, and I'm going to walk you through that. Okay, first thing we're going to go over here before we map out the timeline is physique assessment. So looking at my physique, seeing where I'm at, what I actually want to happen as I go through this fat loss phase, what areas I need to work on. You need to assess that first, and this is something that I do with every single client, right? Okay, so this is me in my garage. This is where I'm currently at. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of muscle, yeah? I'm dense, I'm full. But for me to improve my fitness next year, I'm going to have to be lighter. Like, this kind of physique is too heavy. Yes, I love the bodybuilding training, I love banging training, that's going to stay the same, but I need to bring my scale weight down. So I'm actually really happy with the amount of progress I've made. Like, overall, my physique is very balanced. I've got a good amount of muscle. Everything's in proportion, you know, quads, calves, legs, shoulders, chest. Everything's where it needs to be. You might be watching this right now and you might not be able to see what I can see, but I can see this sort of like envisioned without body fat. I've got that X frame, wide, broad shoulders, nice quad sweep going on, calves are in proportion with the upper body. And I know when I diet down, my waist goes really, really tight. And I go from this sort of like blocky look and things go into sort of like that X frame shape. So overall, good amount of muscle built, very, very productive gaining phase. I'm actually really happy with this. Considering no PEDS, nothing, this is me completely natural. See, I've got a lot of muscle, I'm just carrying too much body fat for my liking. But this has been necessary to make this amount of progress. You know, even when I spin around to the back, one of my weak areas used to be like my hamstrings, my posterior. It used to turn to the back of my legs, used to look quite thin, but I'm really happy with the progress I've made here. Glutes are nice and thick, quad sweeps out from the back, legs meet in the middle, calves are in proportion as well. So obviously I've got a lot of muscle, yeah? I want to keep as much muscle as possible. I don't want to lose any of this muscle. You look at this physique now, you can imagine if I can keep all of this muscle that's underneath and pull body fat off, that's going to be a seriously impressive physique next year. And I'm going to make sure it's going to be a seriously impressive physique as well. I know exactly what I need to do to get this physique to the best possible position it can be in. Okay, let's map out the timeline. The first thing I want to do is just create that downward trend on the scales, which is going to be nice and slow, and that's going to be body fat coming off. We don't want it to be too fast. That's not going to be body fat coming off, that's going to be muscle being lost. We want to take this process nice and slow, okay? This is a performance tracker. This is what I use to track a client's progress, and this is what I'm going to use to coach myself. It's quite funny because I started coaching because I was so good at tracking my own progress and coaching myself, and then I started showing people, you know, the things that I know. So it's like it's done a full 360 now. I'm coaching myself again. It's quite funny, but this is how I do it, okay? So what I'm going to do now is walk you through the important parts of the tracker and explain everything. So first of all, let's focus on this left hand side, the phases that I'm going to go through in this first initial fat loss phase, okay? So I actually started this yesterday, so I'm walking you through this. This is Tuesday, so I started yesterday, okay? So I'm going to go into a 4-week fat loss phase, okay? I'm going to stop that fat loss phase on the 21st of December. I'm going to go into a short maintenance phase, okay? From the 22nd up until the 4th. The reason I'm going to do that is I've got Christmas coming up, New Year. I don't live in the UK, so when I come home, I spend a lot of time with friends and family, okay? So I'm going to put myself into a short maintenance phase whilst I do that to make it practical, sustainable, okay? Once that maintenance phase is complete, I'm going to go into another 8-week fat loss phase, which is going to take me until the end of February. The reason I've mapped out 12 weeks of fat loss is because I know in 12 weeks I can make a really significant difference in the way my physique looks, and I can keep all of my muscle. This is exactly what I did in my photo shoot in Dubai, and it was a really good position to be in. So that's exactly what I'm going to do this time. I want to get myself to a leaner, sharper, lighter position, and I know from previous times this is exactly what I need to do. In the maintenance phase, whatever scale weight I am at the end of the 4 weeks fat loss there, I'm just going to maintain that scale weight. So if I'm 215 pounds, I'm going to make sure that I stay at 215 pounds before I go back into the fat loss phase, okay? So there might be some ups and downs. Maybe there might be like a roast dinner or something like that with the family, and my scale might jump up 2-3 pounds, but I'll dial that back in and I'll make sure I'm in the exact position that I was at the start of this fat loss phase, that finish that fat loss phase, maintaining weight. That's how it's going to be practical and sustainable, okay? Dieting through Christmas, New Year and stuff is really difficult. I'm not on a bodybuilding prep, I'm not competing for the Olympia. It needs to be practical, and this is exactly what I need to do, okay? Coming back to the start, the 4-week fat loss phase. This first week isn't about smashing fat loss and doing everything we can do to get scale weight off. It's actually to do the opposite. One thing I tell clients is we start a fat loss phase with a toolbox, right? Inside that toolbox, we have all of the tools that we need to drop body fat. Diet adjustments, more cardio, more steps, more movement, fat burners. All of those tools are inside our toolbox. We don't want to use any of those tools, right? We want to keep them in that toolbox for as long as possible and use them only as and when we need them, okay? So bringing me over to the right hand side, this is my nutrition. I'm going to cover the nutrition plan that I built in a separate video, which is going to be about building nutrition. But for the purpose of this video, you can see on my notes, no cardio in the first week, 10k steps per day, gather data and adjust from here, okay? So I'm going to stick to this nutrition plan for the first week, and I'm just going to collect data. This is the nutrition plan that I've built for myself. In this first week, I'll have my morning scale weight every single day. I'll have moved 10,000 steps per day, and I'll have done 5 training sessions per week. Then I'll have all of the data that I need to make the necessary adjustments to create a 1 to 2 pound loss per week in the second week. That is how much I want to be dropping in this first 4-week fat loss phase, okay? But this first week is about using 0 tools, collecting data, and then making the necessary adjustments we need to make into week 2. And that's exactly how I'm going to do it, okay? Biggest mistake people make is they don't do this. Now that I've done this, I've got absolute clarity on what it is I want to do, how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be collecting data as I do it, and I'm going to be able to track everything that I'm doing throughout the process to make sure that this happens. Fat loss is easy when you know what you're doing and you know how to track progress, okay? Now that I've mapped out that timeline, I've got absolute clarity on what it is I need to do. I know when I want to be in shape, how I'm going to get there, how long it's going to take, and I've also identified up and coming problems that I'm going to be facing, so when I run into them, it's already planned out, it's already mapped out. One of the biggest mistakes and the most confusing things men do when they're trying to get in shape is not map out a timeline. They just say, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to start dieting, and they don't know where they're going or what they're doing. Over the next 12 weeks, I've already identified the problems that are coming up. I know how much weight I need to lose, I know all of it. So when those problems come up, I've already got an action plan, I already know what I'm going to do. I've already mapped out a maintenance phase, so I don't need to worry about it. Imagine if I tried to do this without mapping it out. Christmas would come, oh, off-plan meal there. Christmas Eve, oh, the gym's closed. Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, all of this stuff I'm going to handle, and I know how to handle it because I've mapped it out. This is a skill that you learn over time, and this is a skill that I teach clients when I coach them. If you're a man who wants to get in shape, drop body fat, get your life back on track, whatever it is you want to do, get to that peak position, there is so much bullshit on social media right now. So many gimmicks, so many tricks, so many fad diets, all this crap. What I'm showing you here is basic stuff, but it works. I coached myself when I was 18, 32 now. I've always got myself in peak shape following this strategy. Once you know how to build your nutrition, build your training, which I'm going to cover in another video, and you know how to track data, it's just a matter of sticking to the plan and seeing results. So obviously this is my first video on my first channel. I've got no views, no subscribers, nothing. So if you are watching this and you found some value in it, please subscribe, leave a comment, maybe drop me a message on Instagram, whatever you can do to support the channel. Or maybe you've got some questions, just message me on Instagram and I'll be happy to help. I'm sure there's lots of things in this video that you have got questions about. But make sure you stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to be walking you through how to build a nutrition plan to get in shape and drop body fat.